like this, where I hope this has been a trademark of our time here, that whether it was Duke, whether it was UConn, UCLA, many other, Kansas, we've been able to bring some really high brand universities in here, brands like Michigan, and they have these nice home and homes, which you very rarely see. And so we got one now, we got another one with Texas on Tuesday. So UCLA 7-1 did not get to play their game Wednesday because of the terrible wildfires, but really talented team. Steve would know better about what they're missing from the incidents in China. I don't see it certainly did not have the incredible talent level they had last year. They are still really, really talented, and as talented as anybody that we've seen thus far. Every bit as talented as North Carolina. Every bit as talented as a lot of teams we'll see in the Big Ten. So a big game for us to come out and hopefully have a great crowd. Saturday afternoon game and go out. We're going to have to play really well. We're going to have to play like we did in the first half against Ohio State in the 40 minutes we had when we played Indiana.
Max?
Coach, you've had a little bit of breathing room between Monday's game and
Finally.
What have you guys been working on in this practice?
We'll just get back. We had two really intense practices on Tuesday and on Thursday, and just get back to Michigan basketball. Right, so a lot of things that we would say, all right, as soon as we get to breathe, like you mentioned, we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. And so we're able to clean up stuff. It's not fixed, right? But at the same time, at least I think they're consciously now aware of some of the incompetence that we have in some areas. 2 weeks ago, they weren't even consciously aware of it. And neither was I, because you don't know everything that's going to happen in a game. Oh my goodness, we're really weak in their area. I thought we had that, so it's been good for us.
Are those mostly focused on one side of the ball, or more both?
Both sides. No, both sides. But we spend an awful lot of time on defense, an awful lot of time. So, but both sides. The timing, what we're doing out of timeouts, all these things are just the focus. All these things we've been.
Andrew?
Hey, Coach. Has there been any consideration to playing Muhammad at point guard?
You know, his numbers would say that, but no, there has not been any. We have enough point guards. We just got to figure out which ones are at the best. There is consideration of playing Jordan Poole more as a two-man and put him and Charles on the court at the same time.
All right, thanks.
Zach?
You mentioned they don't have quite the same top lottery pick talent they had last season, but they're still go pretty quick on offense, and they seem to be pretty good at going to the post. I guess what stands out to you about their offensive attack?
Well, Holiday's one of those guards who can just do everything. I mean, I think he's a high level point guard. I think that he can, he's sort of an experienced version of Tremont Waters, and you saw what he did to us. Really, he's very much like Barry. He really can play. And then Welch is the fifth-year guy that is just Mr. Steady all the time. Really can do some great things. And then their wings now, are just what they've had. They're 1, 2s, and 3s. They're just extremely talented. They got more bucket getters than we have right now. And we're going to have to guard the dribble, keep them off the boards, and make sure that we execute on offense.
And then a couple days removed, did anything stand out defensively that wasn't there in the second half against Ohio State?
You know what? The biggest takeaway was I think they had 13 points on careless fouls, on hand-checking fouls. And that, as you know, the game was tied with 2 minutes to go, 2:16 to go. The game was tied when we had a hand-check foul, when we grabbed the guy's arm in a post-up. That was the biggest takeaway from all that, is they went to the line 28 times, not second-guess the officials. Didn't agree with every call, but not second-guessing the officials. We fouled them with just putting your hand on people. That we have some handsy guys, and it is really hard habit for them to break.
Chris?
There were reports that you came down pretty hard on the guys after the game. What exactly was the message to these guys?
I don't think I came down that hard.
Okay.
I think there was a strong message that we practiced hard the next day. We ran sprints at the beginning for what we call the F chart, when you really failed something. It's something that has been brought up many times, and you continue to do it. No, the message is that we have to play, I thought we played hard. We did not play smart in the game, right? Whether the focus out of a timeout, whether it was all these hand fouls. If I could tell you, I'm just telling you, it's literally in the 200 or 300 times that we have warned certain people that this is going to be a foul in the game, and they continue to do it. So we made it very important. This is important. You're hurting your team, you're hurting your teammates, and your playing time's in jeopardy if you don't stop it.
And then Jordan, I think, played 8 minutes. Are you still gaining trust in him to?
Absolutely, yes. He's still, there's some things that are, he's just sort of learning on the fly, but he's got some abilities. He's a bucket getter, right? He can get you baskets in a lot of different ways. But in all those minutes he's got 1 assist now and 5 turnovers in all those minutes. So seeing the game, and then defensively, like every freshman in the country, is in the same boat. There's a new game, and there's a new game plan. And I got to guard this. Now I got to change how I guard it, because it's a different action. And those are all creating some tape delay defensively. Casey.
I'm over here today.
Yes, sir. You changed it up on me.
Yeah, I know. When you look at UCLA, you see, of course, Aaron Holiday, but there's another point guard as well, Jalen Hands. What do you think about both of those point guards?
They're both excellent. I mean, they both can, let's say, get their own shot. They can create for others. They got a lot of ability at that position.
And when you look at UCLA and Steve Alford, have you guys talked to each other? And what did you learn in last year's matchup with them?
Well, no, we do not talk with. I mean, if I see him on the road, I probably like I said, there's so few coaches in the country that I have that type of let's go to dinner relationship. That's not me. I'm just like, I just don't do that. But it is more. I got a huge respect. We've only played against each other. I think that one time last year, and all those years, I've been in a little bit longer than him, and he's been in a long time. So. I took away, they were very talented. I just watched some of the video. They really played a great game. I wish we had played differently at times and better at times because we had an opportunity to really get an incredible win, and we couldn't complete that win in what was really a fantastic basketball game.
Thank you.
Nick?
You say more time for Jordan. Is that you'd like to get him out there with Muhammad and Charles at the same time?
Yeah. Oh no, probably not. No, probably not. Probably 2 of those 3. And unless Isaiah Livers had an incredibly good practice yesterday, right? So there's you can play Charles over there. I think that where the matchup isn't right for Dunk and the matchup isn't right for Isaiah, we could possibly play with the 4 guards. But there's Charles still where he can be a good defender. As same thing with him, as games change and our defensive philosophy will change from game to game, Charles got to get up to that speed too. So playing him as a 4-man would be an option, but I don't see the 3 of them together.
So more time for Isaiah as well, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the other thing that we've noticed there is Mo really had a rough game at Ohio State. What I forget about, because we've never had, even McGarry didn't play these type of minutes. We have not had a center since Deshaun Sims that would try to play 32 to 36 minutes. And with them, it's different. There's a wrestling match at each end, and then you got to go run to the other end. It's like if any of you have done sprints, do sprints, but do just 5 push-ups in between the sprints and see the difference it is in your cardio. And that's what I've seen and noticed with Mo, because he made some really uncharacteristic plays in the last 4 minutes of the Ohio State game. He was tired, and I probably played him too many minutes. So we want John to play more. We want Isaiah to play more because I think they're able to do some of the little things that would have been costly early in the year.
Brendan?
You talk about the freshman minutes. When it comes to playing in the second half, how much is it, how difficult, or whatever word you want to use, is it for you to put them in those winning times?
Yeah.
Kind of take your hands off,
Yeah, that is going to be some, but I think who's ever playing well at that time. And at some point they have to do it. These freshmen, like I said, these 3 freshmen are there's the Trey Burke freshman and there's the DJ Wilson freshman, right? There can be 2 different guys that develop later, right? Some of them develop. Javon Shepard is a tremendous player over in Europe right now, right? But for 4 years here, he's trying to find his way. Guys develop at different times. these three guys have the ability to develop early. So one of those ways would be you're in there at gut time, which I think maybe in the VCU game, no, I think X was in there at the end. Eli was not in there, but that's the next step, and I'm not going to be afraid to do it pretty soon. But right now, it's like who makes our offense flow better so that we can run it, as opposed to what's the better defensive matchup or the better offensive matchup right now.
And also in the preseason, you talked about Luke developing his defensive voice, being that guy that
Right.
the guys are
Right.
listening for and identifying with.
Yep.
How, given tomorrow and the transition and stuff that
Yep.
speed that UCLA plays with, how's that transition going?
Yeah, he has a great deal of latitude right now in what we're doing, and we lean on him a lot. So he's, they'll get, we call them pre-fast facts. Well, before every game, we're going to go into it, and he's going to say what he suggests. And then I'll trump something or ask him to look at something if I feel that my experience tells me that's probably not the right way to do it against this team. But for the most part, it's his. And then the emphasis in practice. The biggest thing is that when we're in practice, he's not watching any offense. He doesn't know anything about our offense. And both ways, if we're going back and forth, blue maze, he's just watching defense at both ends. Where I'll watch the first 8 if they're today. I'll watch them both on offense and defense. I won't watch the defensive end of the Mays team. But he's watching only defense, and that's really good to have that. The kids always have that accountability.
Anybody have anything else?
You've been tracking your signees
Yeah.
a little bit, and thoughts on their starts. Look like
I have only seen the stats, and we did go see Ignis last night. So yeah, we've been watching. Pleased with what we hear about them. I think I'm going to have the opportunity in the next month I want to see every one of them personally once, so it helps me judge as we come out of this year where they are in their development. But I'm really pleased with what we hear about them. Colin had a monster game last night, I think, and David DeJulius is so. People that appreciate really good point guards, he's really a good point guard. That he's a guy that can set up others, get others better, get his own shot. But his primary thing is he's a point guard that can score. He's not a scorer who plays point guard, and that's really important.
Have you seen the comparisons to Derek Walton that people talk about at all?
No, I haven't heard about that, but I could see where that would happen.
Yeah.
I would see where that could happen. I said, he's just really done good. Him and Ignis have both done like really things beyond their years of getting into yoga and really eating right, and their athleticism has really changed on the positive side in the last couple months, really. And so good. But I just watch the highlights that I see on the internet.
And then with Duncan.
I'm a subscriber to UM Hoops, by the way.
Okay, gotcha.
A Patreon, I think it's called a Patreon.
Well, I appreciate
Whatever
that.
it's called, I don't know
Yeah.
why it's not called a patron, it's just called, I don't know what that word is, but I am.
Yeah. With Duncan.
And it's illegally allowed to,
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
a service, they're not a
Right.
recruiting service.
Yep. And then with Duncan, is it something where if he's not shooting well, is it something that you might consider bringing him off the bench and trying?
Yeah, I mean, it's always I don't see this lasting very long. He's 4 for his last 19.
Right.
Right? I know those stats, and Tim Hardaway has been 1 for 19. You just sort of. My thought with him is that means he's really going to go crazy and go 6 for 7 one day to even things up, because he'll always come back. As we've watched for 3 years, he comes back to his norm, which is high 30s.
And then Nick and Karras together.
Yeah, how about that? I haven't yet. I just heard about it late. What was it, last night? It happened yesterday? Right, it happened last night. I haven't reached out to either one. I heard from agents and their agents and things like that, so I'm excited for that one. I just think, I'm hoping that, and I understand J.J. Redick got in front of Nick. I understand that. That Brooklyn, I think he'll get a chance to play in the ball screen, be more. He's so much more than just a shooter, as we all saw here. And he's in great shape, and I hope he gets a chance with Brooklyn to get some minutes and show what he can do.
Okay, Coach.
All right.